Shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. And this is a continuation of the lesson of Yahuwah's calendar. And this is part 14. I do recommend that you watch parts 1 through 13 before watching this, for this is giving an example of how to track the seasons. So in the first lesson, we learned how to identify when the season began and end. And the seasons I'm talking about are spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now, as you can see here, for example, I tracked the year of 2015 to 2016. And again, this is the lunar solar calendar, which is known as Yahuwah's calendar or the created calendar. Now, I highly recommend my people for you to track this yourself. This has been a great teaching tool for myself because it's very hard and difficult to track the Most High calendar on the Gregorian calendar because you're not going to see a lot of things unless you write it out for yourself, as you can see here. So in the book of Enoch, he taught us that for spring, the beginning of spring follows after this particular day. That's when day and night are equal. So the length of daylight and the length of night, which is darkness, will be about 12 hours. And in the year of 2015, that occurred on March the 20th. So the solar year began on March the 21st. That's very important because the equinox represents the last day of the 12th month of the solar year. It also represents the last day of winter. So this is why my solar year will begin on the 21st. As you can see here, also the lunar year also began on the 21st. So this is very important to track those. This is why it's very important to track your equinox and to also track your solstice, so you know when the seasons begin and end. So here, this is for the month of Abib, which is the first month. You cannot see when the equinox was, but it would be before this day here. So let's go to the next page. And before I go to the next page, I recommend for my people to, draw your own calendar. So that way you can write this down. Again, it's always going to be in this fourth mat. Your new moon day is always going to be above because it's separate from the other days. The 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th are your Sabbath days. And then that empty block, because not every month will have a 30th day, is for the 30th day, and that is that is an ordinary day as well. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So you can see here, this is dealing with the summer solstice. You see how I put it in yellow? So I know that was the last day of spring, and the fourth month is the 5th day, and that's the beginning day of summer. Okay, this is very important to know, as you can see here. And I also learned from studying Jeremiah chapter 8. You may see it on my calendar now, but in the future I would no longer call the 4th month Tammuz. I would just say the 4th month in future references, because I learned now Tammuz is calling on a deity, which was the Canaanites' god, which was really Baal. So I highly recommend that you read Jeremiah chapter 8. But let us proceed on. Again, you can see how I was tracking the equinox and the solstice, as well as my lunar months and the phases of the quarter phases of the moon. So let me go to the next sheet. Okay, dealing again at the 10th month, you can see here, this is marking the last day of the summer season, and this is called the let me think. This is called the winter, not winter. This is called this. Let me make sure I got this right. Oh, I know I have the wrong sheet. Okay, the 7th month. Looking at the one that's highlighting yellow, that is my fall equinox. That's the day when you have night and day equal about 12 hours. Also, here in the 7th month, that day lets me know that's the last day of, I'm trying to think what month this fall, of the 6th month of the solar year. That's the last day of the 6th month of the solar year. And this is the last day of summer. So on Tisri, the 11th day will be the beginning of fall. So do you see how this is so important to track? Okay. These days. All right. And let's go to the next one, which is this one, which fell in the 10th month. This is my winter solstice. Again, that lets me know that it's the 9th month, the last day of the 9th month of the solar year, and the last day of the fall season. So my winter season will begin on the 10th month, on the 12th day. Okay, as you can see itself. Now, we do have more confirmation in the hidden books about these seasons, because they will only fall in, and I had to work myself backwards, in the solar year. They will fall in, make sure I got this right. I'm sorry. In the lunar year, you can see that. Let me just read the book of Jubilee. I don't want to word it incorrectly. Let me just go there instead. Okay. Oh, but before I go there, let me just let you see what I have for this year as well. Let me get these papers out the way. This is for the year of 2015 through 2016. That's done with Jubilee. But this is, again, this is based on 2016. As you can see here, how I'm tracking the moon as well as the sun. Okay. Right there. You can see on the 15th, that was the last day of spring. And then this again for 2016. Like I said, that was before I knew, but I would no longer go by that name anymore. But you can see how I'm just tracking the year, and pretty soon I will have an equinox listed for somewhere in this month. I haven't had a chance to write it down. All right, let us go to the book of Jubilees, because the book of Jubilees also give us more insight about the seasons. Okay. And this is in Jubilees chapter 6. And it starts from, I want to start reading from 22 to 30. For I have written in the book of the first law, let me get this to focus a little bit. In the first law, in that which I have written for you, that you should celebrate it in its season, one day in the year, and I explained to you its sacrifices, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations, in this month, the same day in every year. On the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever. Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become a memorial to him. On the new moon of the 1st month he was told to make for himself an ark on that day. The earth was dry, and he saw from the open ark the earth. On the new moon of the 4th month the mouths of the deeps of the bottomless pit beneath were closed. On the new moon of the 7th month all the mouths of the abyss of the earth were opened, and the waters began to decease into them. On the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. Because of this, he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever, and thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks from one to another, past their memorial from the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. So at this point, we can see here in the solar year, there was 13 weeks. And if we take 13 weeks times 4, we get 52 weeks for the solar year. If we take 13 weeks times 7, we get 91 days. Okay, so that was for each season. So when he said from the first to the second, he's saying from spring to summer. Then from the second to the third, that's summer to fall. Then the third to the fourth, that's from fall to the fourth. And all the days, verse 30, all the days of the commandment would be 252 weeks of days. And these would make the entire year complete. That is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablets. So as you can see here, he's giving us more insight about the seasons. You have to understand Enoch chapter 72 to know when your seasons begin and end, so you know how to track your solar year and compare it to the lunar year. So click on part 15 for we'll go more in depth about the seasons. Shalom.